you know who your parents' favorite is. Everybody always knows who the favorite is. And if by chance you don't know who the favorite is, newsflash, sugar, you the favorite. I've got 6 siblings. And I think my siblings are pretty dope. They know how to have a good time. They're the kinds of people who went to see our mother every day on their way to the club. But they went to see her every day. But I am my dad's favorite. Now, I'm an engineer, so I like data, I like facts and figures, and this is not the kind of thing that you can prove, you know, which is kind of interesting because one of my favorite quotes is, "In God we trust, all others bring data." Okay? I don't trust you without some numbers. But what kind of man would say, "Hey, I've got 7 kids, but this the one. Like, I love her." You know, like, nobody's going to say that. Nobody is going to say that, so this is not something I can prove, but what's understood don't need to be explained. But being the favorite is not all fun, right? Like, I don't know if you know the story of Joseph. I mean, his siblings tried to kill him. Because he was the daddy's favorite. You know, they like, "We got to stick you in a hole, all right?" So I remember, like, growing up. I think this is why I like diversity, equity, and inclusion. I grew up with people who wanted to kill me. I mean, my daddy combed my hair, took me everywhere with him. I never got a spanking. He didn't yell at me. None of that. Them others, they got the business. So when my dad died, I was super young, and I only had one request of God. Please don't let my mama die and leave me with these people. I mean, what would they do? You know what I mean? You got to be more careful, you know what I'm saying? So when my mom died, I actually thought that God had actually honored my request because I was an adult and I was on my own and all was good with the world. But this thing happens when you lose both of your parents. I think you're more interested in extended family and who else you might be related to. But I don't know if you can tell, I'm black, so genealogy requires looking at census records. And when you're black, census records always lead you to slave records. No thanks. Like, I don't want to spend a whole bunch of time in libraries looking at dusty old books and going through slave records. I got enough therapy bills, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'll pass. So I was excited in 2012 when Ancestry.com launched. I mean, look, I was an early adopter. All my siblings were like, "Do not give your DNA to the feds. What are you doing?" But me? I was like, look, you know on Dateline, that's how they find serial killers. But me and my siblings, we live different lives, so I wasn't worried about this. So I jumped right in. And there are benefits to jumping right in. And there are negatives to jumping right in. The benefits are, I've been building my family tree from the comfort of my own home for the better part of 10 years. The negative is I've been building my family tree from the comfort of my own home for the better part of 10 years. You know, in the beginning, one of the things that I was having to do was put my own information in there. My dad has 17 siblings. That's a lot of people to remember who married whom and who, you know what I'm saying? That's a lot. I think my grandparents didn't have television. I don't know what the hell. They were sneaking in, you know what I'm saying? They're like, "Hey, what you doing, girl?" So that's a lot of work, if you can imagine. You know, me just kind of manually putting it together. But I'm proud of this tree because it is massive, it's beautiful. There's this other tab, the Ancestry tab. It's the reason why most people join Ancestry.com. You want to know what countries you're from, who you're related to. That's how I found out I'm 4% Irish. Slave records again, you know. You can like that, it's all right. We got to teach these things in school. I am, my people are from Benin and Togo and Nigeria, Cameroon. I was really excited about the Cameroonian thing because there was a lady who used to work next to me who was from Cameroon, and she would bring in food so that I could get acclimated to the culture, you know? And one day she brought in these spice roasted termites. when you shake the skeletons away, they taste kind of like Rice Krispies if you ever. I was so sure I was going to be all inundated with this stuff, right? So I am buying a couple of outfits. I could never quite get the head wrap together, so I kind of let that go, followed a few Instagram accounts, and I called myself culturally immersed. I'm in there. I know who my people are. There's another tab on Ancestry. How many of you have done Ancestry.com? So there's another tab on Ancestry.com. It's the DNA matches, right? So when I first started in Ancestry.com, there wasn't a whole lot of people in there. Remember, my family said, don't give your DNA to the Facebook. The only other person on the DNA matches tab that I recognize is my own son. Of course, he's 50% my match. He didn't really have a choice about whether or not he wanted to give his DNA to me. Spit this too. Do it. So I never spent any time over there, okay? No time whatsoever, but it's always been there. Everything's good until one day my niece takes the Ancestry.com test. And she sends me a message. This will be my first kind of scientific ad. Remember, I was doing all this manual. And it says two things in the message. Auntie, add me to your tree. The system says we're a match. One, I already added you to my tree. I did it manually. And two, of course, honey. That's how genetics work. Of course we're matched. Like, what are you talking about? When I finally get into my messages, though, the system won't let me add her as my niece. It says she's my half-niece. Now, I don't know if y'all use half-niece language, but I don't. It took me days to figure out what half-niece is. And I'm like, oh, child of half-sibling. I ain't got no half-sibling. My mama and my daddy got 7 kids. Who does half? I know. My brother Jimmy got a different daddy. Oh my goodness. This is so sad. What am I gonna do? So I send a message in the family group chat. Hey man, I got something to tell you. I'm sitting down, you know, like get yourselves together. But at this point, what do we know? Like, we don't know. So everybody needs to take sibling DNA tests. My oldest sister agrees. Okay? But she's the, hierarchy. There's this, like, I don't care nothing about the favorites. Like, I'm a thinking person, not a feeling person, right? So I don't really care anything about that she's the leader and we all just kind of do what she says. She said yes, so I didn't need to ask anybody else. That's just how this works. So I spent $1,000 on sibling DNA tests. I have no idea why they cost more than paternity tests. I can't figure this out, but they're expensive, okay? So I have all these tests, they come in. I send another note to the group chat, don't nobody say nothing. It's crickets. So now I know they know something's going on, right? Because here's what you need to know. They have a chat that doesn't have me in it. There's one with me, and then there's one without me. But don't y'all have no feelings about that. Listen, I'm a thinking person. I'm the favorite. The unfavorites need a place to belong. You know what I'm saying? I have worked in diversity, equity, inclusion forever. I believe in affinity groups, you know what I'm saying? Get together, express your sorrow, you know what I mean? So I ain't thinking nothing about it, but I know they know something because nobody is responding to me. And then I think about my brother. If I close my eyes, he sounds like my father. He feels like my father. He can hold his liquor like my father. That's when I realize it's me. Oh my God. Have I slept with a brother or something? I don't know who the heck that is. I'm freaking out. My hair's falling out. I've changed my therapy appointments from once a month to once a week. Like, we gotta talk about this. I'm obsessive. I'm not going to work. Nobody notices. We're on Zoom. I'm checking Ancestry.com while they having their little breakout sessions. I am not paying attention. I am preoccupied trying to put together centimorgans. I can't figure none of it out. After about 4 months of this, my therapist is irritated. Now, I pay her good money to listen to me. But she tells me that I need to go talk to some other people. She tells me I need to join a support group. So now my ass need an affinity group. Is that what you're telling me right now? But you know what? I follow the simple instructions, so I go to the support group. It's called DNA After the Discovery. I decide I'm not going to go in person because my hair has fallen out. So I join the Zoom. Within 5 minutes, they tell me I need to find these people called the DNA Angels. It's a nonprofit organization that helps people find their biological family for free. And thank goodness, because this therapy bill is kicking my ass. Once a week is quite expensive. So I tell my angel all about this story. I give her all the details. And listen to me, she is so compassionate. This story is really long, by the way. Much longer than it is right now. Like, really long. She's compassionate, she's empathetic, she's caring. And then I get to the end of my story and she says, give me access to your Ancestry.com account. People lie, DNA does not. Well, all right, Kellyanne, here's my password. You know what I'm saying? Here you go, girl. So I'm watching her. I'm at home in my office. I'm looking at her little blue dots and pink dots and moving people. And then she grabs my daddy and takes him off of my tree with all of his siblings and my 10 years worth of work. My tree is standing there looking like the Charlie Brown Christmas tree, like the Leaning Tower of Pisa, like it's been through a tornado in Oklahoma. I can't take it. I gotta go to sleep. I go to sleep, give me some rest. I wake up. She has figured out that my grandparents are these 2 people for whom I have never heard of, and that they have 9 children, and that 4 of them are boys, and 1 of them has to be my dad, and the other 3 are my uncles. Okay. Breathe. So I, like a good engineer, I did not tell you that when my hair had fallen out, my therapist had gotten tired. I did what any good technical person would do. I called the psychic. Listen, don't judge me, judge your mama. I needed answers. Do you hear me? I needed answers. And this, you need to know when this was. Legalized marijuana had just occurred in Missouri. This lady was clearly a supporter. She was so high that I was like, I don't know what she's gonna tell me, but she having a good time, okay? She says 3 things. Everybody in your family knows about this. The letter V's and the number 9 will be important. And be very careful because this man is in jail. Jail. So you know God takes care of young people and fools, right? So I happen to have a really good friend who's a criminal defense attorney. So I call David and I say, David, I need you to find this man. I went with the man whose name started with the letter V. He's either my uncle or my dad, but see if you can find him. David finds him in minutes. He's in a nursing home. It's kind of like jail, you know? You can't leave, the food is terrible, and people have sex even though they ain't supposed to. No, it's kind of gross to think about it. Nasty. Old people, nasty. Old people. Just in there, nasty. So I'm gonna go right there. I do not recommend this. Do not do this. But what I did was I beeline son to this nursing home, but I stop by Walgreens first and I get a paternity test. Because we need to know, is this my uncle or my dad? At this point, we don't know for sure. So I sneak into this nursing home with this paternity kit in my purse. I walk into room 504, added together. On May 22nd, added together. She was high, but she knew what she was talking about. I see my whole face looking back at me on the head of an 80-year-old man. I don't even really need to ask any questions, but I do. Hey, Mr. Name starts with the letter V. I'm Nicole. Yes. Do you know my mama? Yes. Are you my dad? Yes. Like he's answering like I'm asking if he wants meatloaf or something. And while I'm standing there having this moment, I realized that not only did he know, my mom and dad knew, my grandparents knew, many of my aunts and uncles knew, my now new half-siblings knew, the post office man knew, the man who checks the gas meter on the side of the house I grew up in, he knew. Everybody knew except for me. But while I'm standing there like processing all of this, his roommate sticks his head around the curtain and he goes, this like an episode of Jerry Springer. Get back around the corner. Mind your business. Mind your business. Hey, if you decide to go down this road, what you need to know is people ask you weird questions. They want to know, did your mama cheat? They want to know, do you have extra siblings? Did you gain an inheritance? This is what you need to know. Listen, there's 7 of us. My mom and dad were married for 28 years, so clearly my mama cheated. But watch your mouth, because Sister Gertrude Price will get you a knuckle sandwich. Don't you say that about my mama. You know what I'm saying? 2, I don't have any other siblings. Like I was Mr. Name who started with the letter V. I'm his only child. And I think the inheritance question is kind of weird. First of all, he's still alive. Second of all, you think I walked into a nursing home and I'm like, hey man, what you sitting on? We got some money or not? Knock me off that child support. You about 48 years too late. Who gonna say that? Nobody. When I walked out of that place, I was just thrilled that nobody called the police because I had swabbed the cheek of an 80-year-old man, proved paternity, and I'm sure that's a HIPAA violation, but hey, I got out of there. You know, this whole thing, I'm telling you, I had always been a thinking person, not really a feeling person, but I finally ran into something my mind couldn't work me out of. My hair had fallen out. At one point, I swore that I was having appendicitis. I'm on the floor in my bathroom. I'm like, come get me. I'm pretty dramatic when I'm sick, by the way. I'm like, oh God, come get me. I can't make it. They run all these tests. And they're like, ma'am, we can't find anything wrong with you. I'm like, oh crap, I think this happened before. I think it's anxiety. And if there's any one thing I know now is that suppressed feelings never die. You have to be able to combine logic and reason with feelings. And as I think more about all of it, I think I realized that maybe I wasn't the favorite. Maybe my dad, in knowing that I wasn't his biological father, felt sorry for me. Like I'd never be tall, I would never have his amazing looks, I wouldn't be as musically inclined. I certainly probably wasn't going to be able to have as much fun in college because I can't hold my liquor like the rest of them. You know what I'm saying? They can hold it. Let me tell you, they can drink all day. And you'll never know. This new guy, he ain't never had nothing to drink. And I'm like that. And so I think if there's anything that I wanted to leave with you at all is that you find out what you're supposed to find out the moment you're supposed to find it out. You know? And yeah, at least if I'm not the favorite, what I do have is the permission to feel and a rich-ass therapist on speed dial. Thank you. One more thing. And if you need any sibling DNA kicks. Let me know. Hit me up.